the award for the worst nominee in the history of the Republic with Tulsi Gabbard. Now, there's been a lot of jokes floating around because, of course, she was a great admirer of Bashar al-Assad. And if I were her, I'd be a little bit worried because whatever's in those files, whatever intelligence, whatever communication, Assad doesn't control that anymore. So goodness knows what's going to come out about her. Hi, this is Jen Rubin, and this is Jen Rubin's Green Room. As we head into the holidays, there is no shortage of news. Bashar al-Assad, the vicious dictator of Syria, has fled. Now, Israel is conducting bombing, and you will hear from the UN, you will hear from a lot of critics of Israel. Oh no, Israel is inflaming the situation, they're making things worse. Actually not. What they are doing is destroying as much weaponry, including chemical weapons, so they don't fall into the hands of people who just a little while ago were associated with ISIS. Now, I understand the main rebel group has said they're moderated, they're going to make a deal to rule with the other groups, they're going to accommodate Christians, all the rest of it. But do we really know how this is going to turn out? We have seen this movie before. They start out moderate, and then they become crazier and crazier as things go on. And in any case, why do we want Syria to have a storehouse of weapons? Why do we want them to have a navy? Why do we want them to have chemical weapons? Of course we don't. So Israel is once again doing our work for us. And this is really kind of the point of what's going on in the Middle East. With the U.S. help, granted, we've given them intelligence, we've given them assistance, we've given them diplomatic cover, but really Israel itself has almost single-handedly devastated Hezbollah, devastated Hamas, put Iran on its heels, helped shove Assad out of the way because Iran was not available to help him, and made our life incredibly more accommodating, easier. It's going to be a more stable, more productive area. And you know what? Trump is getting all this on his silver platter. Yeah, Biden is handing him the opportunity of a lifetime. He has already presided over a ceasefire deal with Hezbollah. And I imagine that a Hamas deal is just around the corner. So he is going to hand off, understand this, to Trump. No wars in Israel, Iran back on its feet, Assad out of the picture, Israel reigning supreme. What could he do to screw this up? I don't know. I can imagine, actually. And what he would do would be to back the worst impulses of Bibi Netanyahu, who, by the way, is on trial and may have to go to jail, by encouraging to annex the West Bank, by encouraging him to be even more aggressive regarding the Palestinians. This would be a grave mistake because Donald Trump, after all, wants a Nobel Prize. You know he does. And the way to get there is to get Bibi and the Saudis together to reach an accommodation, something for the Palestinians, and declare peace in the Middle East. That's his road to the Nobel Peace Prize. He does not get there by encouraging Bibi and his worst right-wing allies to be the most extreme, the most obstreperous. That's counter to what Trump wants. And I have news for Bibi Netanyahu and the other people who think they're so smart, who think they can push Trump around, who think, oh, he loves Israel, oh, he's indebted to the Christian right. They fail to understand that Donald Trump only cares about Donald Trump. And he wants glory, he wants power, he wants revenge. And if the choice is between kicking Bibi to the curb and getting a Nobel Peace Prize and a peace deal in the Middle East, I have no doubt whatsoever he's going to choose the latter. So where does that leave the rest of the world and the United States? Well, once again, look what Trump is being handed. The economy is raring. We just added 277,000 jobs. Unemployment is up just a tick, but 4.2% is really low. Wages are outrunning inflation. Trump is being handed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We have up and running the most successful investment in infrastructure, in green energy, in chip manufacturing. All he has to do is not screw it up. Now, what would he do that would screw it up? Well, first of all, he would put in a bunch of incompetent crooks into office, and he will try. Secondly, he could actually pursue his mass deportation plan, which would absolutely kill both agriculture and the construction industry, which do depend on undocumented workers. Yes, they do. He could, of course, enter into a tariff war with our allies. How stupid would that be? Donald Trump getting into a trade war with Canada? Who does that benefit? Now, granted, he knows nothing about economics, but even he can see that that would be the wrong maneuver. And you only need to look at Europe, which is not exactly an economic colossus these days. The EU just did a free trade deal with South America. So what sense does it make for Donald Trump to get into a trade war with a bunch of countries that have just opened up their markets to our allies? Even Trump is smarter than that, I think. So that leaves, of course, these insane, corrupt, compromised nominees that he is trying to get through. Pete Hegseth, by the way, is the least of our troubles. He is morally repugnant, he's unfit, he's unqualified, but that doesn't make him the worst of the nominees. That award, I think, gets split between Kash Patel, who is promising to exact revenge and lock up the January 6th committee people, go after a long list of people. He is a QAnon conspiratorialist, and he would share the award for the worst nominee in the history of the Republic with Tulsi Gabbard. Now, there's been a lot of jokes floating around because, of course, she was a great admirer of Bashar al-Assad. And if I were her, I'd be a little bit worried because whatever's in those files, whatever intelligence, whatever communication, Assad doesn't control that anymore. So goodness knows what's going to come out about her. Listen, the Republicans would be nuts to approve either one of these people. And here's why. It's not because they care about democracy. It's not they care about competent governance. If there is a terrorist attack, if there is an assault on the American service people, they will be blamed because they will have put in utterly incompetent, compromised people in important positions, national security positions. They will never live this down. Now, there are other horrendous nominees, don't get me wrong. There's RFK Jr., who wants to cut off, I suppose, cutting edge research, doesn't believe in vaccines. He's a complete nut. But thankfully, there is an army of medical professionals in Washington, D.C. There are state health professionals. Some of the governors are getting together to make sure they have a storehouse of not only Plan B medication, abortion medication, but also vaccines. In other words, he can be countered. He can be made up for. There is a way of backfilling that space. There's no way to make up for the fact if we're attacked by terrorists or if we preemptively engage in a war in the Middle East that turns out very badly. Those things can't be remedied by other people. There's no governor who's around to save us from that. So Republicans had better think long and hard before they put in intelligence and in national security positions these lunatics. And I have news for them. Those people who are up in 2026, Susan Collins, Tom Tillis, Joni Ernst, they will be the first to go because the American people will see them as responsible for whatever debacle that has unfolded, and they will lose their seats. So if you can't do the right thing because you love America, because you care about democracy, at least act in your own self-interest. That will be the biggest motivator for Republicans. So if you like this program, you like our other programs, tell your friends, relations, They can find us, they can follow us, they can subscribe wherever they get their podcasts. Bye-bye.